The application regarding the Zimbabwe Association of Doctors for Human Rights seeking protective way for medical practitioners.
Thank you very much, Mr. Makoni. Your order has been granted by consent. What does it mean now going forward?
What it means going forward is that the Minister of Health is committed to ensure that adequate measures are put in place to protect frontline health workers who are responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, in particular to ensure that they are provided with personal protective equipment. They are also regularly screened and tested in the course of their work, as it has been seen elsewhere that particularly healthcare workers are exposed, and if not screened and regularly tested, they may end up also testing positive to this COVID-19. And in addition, we're also asking that the screening and testing be accelerated throughout the country so that we can account for more positive cases if they are there in the communities, because it has also been seen elsewhere that while those that show signs are being tested, there are others who do not show signs of illness who are not being tested because they do not meet the definition which is provided by the World Health Organization. So we want those people also attended to. So we have the effect of this order is that the Minister of Health will have to roll out a program that ensures that there is accelerated testing of our citizens to ensure that we account for all positive cases that may be in our country.
In an event that government does not fulfill what it has agreed to by way of consent to the order, what is the recourse like?
I think we will cross the bridge when you get there. But in any event, if there is non-compliance, there are remedies that are always available in terms of the law, including contempt of court proceedings. But our hope is that we are all facing this pandemic, and it is in the best interest of everyone, including the health workers, including the Minister of Health himself, to be able to ensure that these things are taken care of. Also, it has been seen that even senior ministers up there, even prime ministers, we've all faced this challenge. So they are not immune to this infectious disease. So it's in the best of interest of everyone to ensure that there's compliance with this order. So I believe that by consenting to this order, there is political will on the part of government to ensure that this pandemic is contained in our country.
Thank you very much.
To this time, the challenge is that at the tail end of the order, we are experiencing an upsurge in terms of positive cases. Only yesterday we had 3 cases, and only God knows how many positive cases we're going to also get, especially because there is tracing that is also going on in Bulawayo in respect of the 3 that tested positive. So without preempting what the President would do, I do not believe that the curve is flattening at the moment. So the President and his cabinet must look into these issues seriously and consider whether it is in the best interest of the country to open us up or to maintain the lockdown for a few more days.
If it is to be extended, which period would you think will be reasonable?
I cannot commit to that. This is a pandemic which is ongoing. In other countries, it has taken over 3 months for the lockdown to then be stayed, especially in China. So it can be anything, but one hopes that the curve will flatten soon to ensure that we are all able to go back to our respective workstations without fearing that we can be victims to this disease.
Mr. Bamo, you represent a Karoi woman as well as Rosie Hanzi, the second respondent, in a case of brutality in the conduct of the security forces, their deployment, and the court ordered that government should ensure the safety of these people. Would you give us a nutshell of your prayer as well as the meaning of the order?
Our prayer basically is that the police and all other security forces involved in effecting compliance with lockdown regulations must comply with the law during the work that they'll be doing. So for instance, they should not assault people, they should not set dogs on people, they should not confiscate or destroy people's properties. That's all that we are seeking. And
the order was granted in your favor. Would you probably share with us a perspective what this order would mean for an ordinary person who is affected by the 21-day lockdown?
The first thing that it means is that human rights have not been suspended in this period, so they must continue to be upheld and to be observed by everyone. But what we only encourage from the people is to also comply with the law themselves.
Government has consulted your request and your prayer. What is the way forward now, given that you were praying that the workers are in the front line are protected as well as they are also tested? Yes. What does it mean going forward?
Yes, we thank our lawyers who represented us on this issue. I think the issue of protective equipment for health practitioners is a very sensitive and a very serious matter. We've seen from other countries health workers are getting infected with this virus, and you know, in this country where the health system is already weak, there was a very high probability that when the cases increase, our frontline healthcare workers are going to be exposed. So this the court order is at least going to compel the ministry to make sure that every health worker is screened and tested for COVID-19, as well as ensures that all the health workers have got adequate protective equipment to do their job. This is very necessary as it protects health workers and make sure that they go to work comfortable, knowing that they are going to have the necessary resources to use in the job that they will be doing.
And given the kind of resources that we have and what we need, do you foresee the order being realized?
Yes, it is our hope that the government, through the Ministry of Health, will not be in contempt of court and is going to enforce this order that has been granted, because it's an order that is going to protect not only health workers but also the citizens of Zimbabwe. It is the duty of the Ministry of Health and the government to promote the right to health, Section 76 of the Constitution. It is their duty to make sure that the right to health is advanced in the country. And I think this order is one way of ensuring that citizens enjoy the highest attainable standard of health care.
From a medical perspective, do you think the 21 days have been used fruitfully and meaningfully? And as well as, from a medical perspective, do you foresee an extension being necessary?
Well, there have been some drawbacks in terms of the lockdown. The lockdown is something that was necessary, and it is something that we all supported. But there were some things that we were not happy with in terms of testing, because for us to know that the lockdown has worked, and for us to know that should we extend the lockdown or not, these are not things that are being done by guessworking. There are statistical models, epidemiological models that you use to try and estimate how the curve has been going, and only after you do that, that's when you can actually have data to tell you to continue with the lockdown or not. However, we have not tested as much people as we would have wanted to be able to have the data to input into those statistical models. So as of now, we are struck where we don't know actually if the lockdown has worked or not, because we did not do the necessary things that were supposed to be done. Because under the lockdown, we needed to intensify our testing, diagnose as much people as possible, isolate people, and then we could actually see how the lockdown has been effective.
Using science and the curve, we've seen a surge in case from Bulawayo.
Yes.
And as you indicate that you need to have an input, do you really foresee more cases in the coming years?
Definitely. Yesterday, from the update that was given by the ministry, where the case of which they called case 15, where the patient was diagnosed positive but with no history of travel, with no history of contact with any positive patient. It means that we now have community spread. It means that there are undiagnosed cases out there. So the ministry has promised to increase the number of tests that they are going to be doing per day. And once they start conducting many cases, we are definitely going to see the number of positive cases going up.
Is there adequate equipment to actually test people that you suspect that maybe have coronavirus?
Yes, this is something that we have been also been writing in terms of our court application. The ministry has agreed that they are going to be doing at least 30,000 tests per month. They've said they've acquired some of the necessary test kits, and we await to see them implementing what they've promised.
Thank you very much.